You're watching Northern Crimes.
Alaska, home to the coldest mountains, iciest rivers, and the largest tracts of untamed forest in all of North America. Each season, over 100,000 hunters head into the heart of the Alaskan frontier, hoping to find an abundance of wild game, adventure, and solitude. But oftentimes, what they find instead is a place where the unknown reigns supreme, and the line between life and death is perilously thin. In this video, we journey into the depths of the Alaskan wild, unraveling the perplexing stories of three vanished hunters, each of their stories shrouded in the mystery and icy grasp of the great unknown. This is Northern Crimes. Our first story centers around Steve Keel, a dedicated family man and a lifelong hunter, who ventured into the remote northern reaches of Alaska only to disappear without a trace. The desolate landscape, with its treacherous terrain and impenetrable silence, holds secrets that continue to baffle and haunt those who seek answers. Steve Keel was a 61-year-old Marine veteran and skilled outdoorsman, hailing from Dover, Tennessee. He was known for his love of adventure and his uncanny ability to navigate through nature's most treacherous landscapes. Steve, along with his loyal friend Brian Collins, sought the thrill of a caribou hunting trip in the distant reaches of Alaska's Northern Territory. It was August 20th, 2022, when the two men embarked on their journey, driving 500 miles north to Dead Horse, Alaska. They set up their camp near mile marker 349 on the Dalton Highway, a remote area where very few venture. Little did they know that their adventure would soon turn into a chilling and mysterious tale. On the fateful day of August 27th, Steve informed Brian that he was going to retrieve a pack of caribou meat located merely a half mile from their camp. With a promise to return shortly, Steve ventured into the wild, leaving Brian behind at the campsite. As the hours passed, Steve's absence grew more worrisome. Brian's concern intensified when the sun dipped below the horizon and his friend was still nowhere to be found. Within days, Steve's two sons, both adept outdoorsmen themselves, arrived in Alaska to aid in the search. They scoured the landscape, hoping to find any trace of their missing father. But their efforts were in vain. The land seemed to have swallowed Steve whole, leaving no evidence behind. The authorities were called, and they conducted an extensive search operation. Over $200,000 was spent on helicopter equipment and fuel, but Steve's camouflage attire made it nearly impossible to spot him from the skies. The lack of phone service in the remote area also hindered the search. Liz Keel, Steve's devoted wife, offered a $15,000 reward in hopes of finding her beloved husband. Yet, as months passed without a single clue, she withdrew the reward in January to aid the 4 search groups that continued to scour the land for any signs of Steve. The skilled outdoorsman, who once stood 5 feet 7 inches tall and weighed 200 pounds, had vanished without a trace. Clad in a camouflage boonie hat, a mossy oak long-sleeve shirt, and digital camouflage pants, he seemed to have just merged with the unforgiving Alaska wilderness. As the story of Steve Keel's disappearance echoed through the hearts of his loved ones, the enigma deepened. What happened to this experienced adventurer in the wilds of Alaska? Did he fall victim to the harsh terrain? Or was there a more sinister force at play? The questions remain unanswered, and the mystery of Steve Keel's fate lingers on in the cold, silent embrace of the Alaskan wild. In the vast and unforgiving wilderness of Alaska, a long-standing mystery had remained unsolved for decades. The curious tale begins in 1976, when Gary Frank Sotherden, a spirited adventurer from Clay, New York, headed into the remote northeastern region of Alaska, unaware of the chilling fate that awaited him. Gary and his friends embarked on their Alaskan journey, eager to explore the breathtaking Porcupine River, a remote area in northeast Alaska not far from the Canadian border. But somewhere along the journey, the team split up, deciding to travel on either side of the river. This fateful decision would ultimately lead to Gary's mysterious disappearance. As the group ventured deeper into the wilds, they soon discovered that Gary had inexplicably vanished without a trace. Gary's family had long presumed him dead after finding his campsite and personal belongings, such as his driver's license and broken glasses. As the years wore on, hope began to fade, and it seemed as though the Alaskan wilds would keep their secret forever. However, in July 1997, a skull was discovered along the very same river, about 8 miles from the Alaska-Canada border. The discovery reignited the search for answers and set in motion a series of events that would ultimately reveal the truth about Gary's disappearance. In April 2022, Alaska State Troopers managed to extract DNA from the skull, embarking on a months-long process to identify the remains. It wasn't until Gary's brother, Stephen Sotherden, took a 23andMe test that the puzzle pieces finally began to fall into place. With the help of modern technology, the remains were officially identified as those of Gary Frank Sotherden, bringing a sense of closure to the family that had been searching for answers for 45 years. The investigation into Gary's death revealed a harrowing tale. A spokesperson for the Alaska State Troopers suggested that Gary may have been attacked by a bear based on the shape, size, and location of tooth marks found on the skull. However, it remains uncertain whether the bear attack directly caused Gary's death. Despite an extensive search, no other remains were discovered. To honor Gary's memory, the family placed a headstone at Pine Plains Cemetery in Clay, etched with the words, "Lost in Alaska." The mysterious tale of Gary Frank Sotherden's disappearance and the eventual discovery of his remains is a chilling reminder of the hidden dangers that lie deep within the Alaskan wilderness. Though the truth has finally been unveiled, the haunting question remains: what really happened to Gary Sotherden deep in the wilds of Alaska? In the remote northern corner of Alaska, a chilling mystery unfolds as a young man vanishes without a trace. The story of Dalton Hanson, a 23-year-old from Fairbanks, remains a mystery as he seemingly evaporated in the vast Alaskan wilderness. The puzzle began on September 10th, 2015, when Dalton walked away from his family's hunting camp, located about 9 miles along the Dalton Highway. With the harsh Alaskan elements bearing down on him, Dalton set off without any survival gear or clothing appropriate for the weather. Little did he know, this decision would mark the beginning of a desperate search to uncover his fate. Upon receiving word of Dalton's disappearance, Alaska State Troopers' rural unit quickly sprang into action. They were joined by a diverse group of organizations, including the Fairbanks Red Cross, Wilderness Search and Rescue, Alaska State Troopers, and village public safety officers. With each passing day, the urgency to find Dalton intensified, as did the chilling realization that time was running out. Despite the tireless efforts of rescuers and the combined resources of helicopters, search dogs, and ground teams, Dalton Hanson remained missing. The unforgiving Alaskan landscape seemed to hold its secrets close, revealing no clues as to the young man's whereabouts. Each day, the rescuers faced relentless rain, sleet, and snow, their determination never wavering in the face of these harsh conditions. Even the ground teams encountered significant difficulties in reaching the hunting camp, a two-person cabin nestled within the rough terrain. With the help of all-terrain vehicles, they did press on, navigating the poorly established trails that led to the camp. But as the days turned into weeks, the search for Dalton yielded no results, leaving the community and his loved ones with more questions than answers. On September 18, 2015, the official search was suspended, pending any new leads or information that might come to light. In the silence that followed, an unsettling question lingered. What happened to Dalton Hanson? Dalton Hanson is described as 5'7", 160-pound white male with short brown hair and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a camouflage jacket, black pants, and boots. As the sun sets over the Alaskan wilderness, the chilling mysteries of three vanished hunters, Steve Keel, Gary Frank Sotherden, and Dalton J. Hanson, linger in the frozen landscape. What happened to these three men? Did they succumb to the merciless elements, or were they victims of a darker, more sinister force? The search for answers continues, leaving us with the unsettling truth that Alaska, with its breathtaking beauty and treacherous landscapes, will forever hold enigmatic stories of those who dared to venture into its wild embrace.